What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chat HVAC. How's it going, everybody? I am Scott Jackson, the senior technician at Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. And with the kids going back to school and fall right around the corner, today we're talking about how to keep your home healthy and comfortable and energy efficient during one of the busiest times of year. We're going to cover quick HVAC checks, healthy air tips, energy saving habits, and a few comfort hacks for busy families. I know I am included in that busy families category. And I've got 3 kids, 5 and under. I've got a wife. I've got a full-time job. I do this podcast. And trust me, I understand busy. So we're going to be talking about all that. But before we dive into the subject matter today, I just want to go ahead and remind you, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share this episode with somebody who's got little kids going back to school. Let people know about the show. Those are the biggest ways that you can support this podcast. If you like what we do here, if you like the information that we provide, if you think it's valuable to you and might be valuable to somebody else, we would certainly appreciate you sharing that with somebody. All right, enough of that. We're going to go ahead and just kick it right off here. Back to school system checkups. So, seasonal change prep. As summer's winding down and AC usage is starting to drop a little bit. Now, if you're here in Ohio, we've still got some 80-degree days on the horizon. Today's going to be about 80 degrees, so you might run your AC a little bit more. But I'm finding that I'm running it slightly less because the evenings are nice and cool now. So as AC usage drops and furnaces start kicking in here soon in the next couple months or so, this transition is the absolute perfect time for you to get things checked out before the first real cold night hits. So right when we're in these in-between seasons, those are the best times to get your systems maintained. If you do your heating and cooling maintenances all in one visit, that's perfectly fine. If you do your heating maintenance in the fall, we're starting to look at scheduling some of those heating maintenances over the next month or so. Second back to school system checkup. What we're looking at is filter checks. I cannot stress the importance of getting your filter changed on time. If you don't know when you need to change your filter or how often you need to change your filter, I would encourage you to go back and watch a previous episode of Chat HVAC. I believe it's number 2. And I'll link that in the description below. It's all about air filters, all about when you should change your air filter. When is it important to change your air filter? But quick little tip for you. If you can't remember the last time you changed your air filter, you probably need to go change it. So I'm just going to go ahead and remind you to do that. This also, a clean filter, it helps the air quality in the house. It helps manage dust slightly. It helps protect your equipment. Just having a clean filter to start off the school year is a great thing to do. And then do a basic visual inspection. Walk outside, look at your air conditioner or heat pump. Make sure there's no leaves or anything on top of it, or make sure there's nothing built up on the side of the coil or anything like that. Now, your HVAC company, if you get regular maintenance, should be washing that for you. I know we do when we go out and take care of people's air conditioners and heat pumps. But if you don't have a maintenance contract, go out there, wash your coil off with just water. You know, wash the sides of your unit off. Make sure it's clean. Make sure there's no leaves built up on the inside of it. If you need to, call somebody out. We can do a service on it, on just the outdoor unit for you as well, and empty out all the leaves that are down inside of there. Just make sure all of that is good and clear and ready to go for the wintertime. Inside, as far as visual inspection is concerned, make sure your vents and returns aren't blocked. We talked about that in a previous episode as well. And just make sure kids aren't throwing backpacks, shoes, those kinds of things on top of your returns, on top of your supplies. Having as much airflow as possible is a good thing. We don't want to have any added restrictions. So pressing on here, we've got some tips for healthy air. So if you suffer with allergies like I do, or you're worried about germs, just kids going out to school, coming back, or maybe you're going out to college and coming back from classes, that kind of thing. Anytime you leave the house and come back in, or multiple people leave the house and come back in, they bring dust, they bring allergens, they bring viruses. Indoor air quality is a major point of stressing for me, especially in the fall going into the winter. So some solutions for indoor air quality over and above just your filter, because your filter is really not going to make your air cleaner or healthier. It's just going to prevent dust from circulating through the duct system. That's all it's going to do. And that really depends on what kind of filter you have. So just real quick, some indoor air quality solutions that we can run through. We've got HEPA filters. So HEPA filters are hospital grade filtration systems. They are not like your regular filter that you slide in and out of your filter cabinet. These are little boxes that'll sit next to your unit. They've got pieces of ductwork that go up on the top of your return and then below your return, and all of the air gets filtered through the HEPA filter. We can also look at whole home humidifiers for just a balanced moisture in the home. Extremely dry air in the home can cause nosebleeds, can cause static in the home. That's not an air quality problem. That's just a comfort problem. And just generally make the house feel warmer, feel more comfortable in the wintertime. And then there are some UV lights or some advanced air cleaners. We've got the Remy Halo that's out there, REME. That's a wonderful indoor air purifier that goes into your duct system. It's not like an individual room air purifier. It's a whole home air purifier. So it goes in your duct system. Lennox has one equivalent as well. I've mentioned in previous episodes that we're a Lennox dealer, so I try to mention their products as well. They're not sponsors of this podcast, but maybe someday. And then some practical benefits of cleaner air. You have fewer sick days, less dust, less allergy attacks. I'm one of the few people on the planet that have been blessed with allergies just all year long. So it doesn't matter what time of year it is, I can have an allergy flare up. Thankfully, I've got some indoor air quality solutions in my home. Pressing on here to the next thing to consider, as we're going back to school, we want to keep everybody comfortable. Energy saving tips for busy families. This is a big one. We know this is a busy time of year. We know it. Your HVAC system is probably the last thing that you want to think about when your kids are going back to school or when you're starting up college classes or things like that. Just some real quick points of discussion. Thermostat adjustments. So with most people gone during the day, set your temperature down a few degrees. If we're still in the warm days, set it up a little bit higher than what you normally would. So if you like to keep your house at 72 in the summertime, set it up to 75, 76. I would not exceed 5 degrees above what you normally do, because then your system's just going to be playing catch up and you're going to negate all the savings that you're attempting to have by not having your system run all day long. And then if it's in the wintertime, again, that 5 degree rule probably applies. If you like to keep your house about 68 degrees in the wintertime, like I do, set it down to no lower than 63, because you don't want your house to have its heat running all night long to try to warm back up. That's just not going to do anybody any good at all. Another thing you can consider is a programmable thermostat or even a Wi-Fi thermostat, a smart thermostat. Those have come a long way over the last several years. They're a lot easier to use. They're a lot more user-friendly. They're a lot more intuitive. You've got the Nest, the Ecobee, Honeywell, Lennox. All of those manufacturers have smart thermostats available. Most manufacturers actually have a smart thermostat available with an app that you can control on your phone. And with the rise of things like Apple HomeKit, Alexa, those kinds of things, it really makes kind of just smart home integration a lot easier than it was 20 years ago. So look at getting a programmable or smart thermostat. Big benefit to the smart thermostat is you can just turn it on and off from wherever you are. So whether it has geofencing and it can see when you leave the house like the Nest does, and it can learn your routines if you leave at the same time, or if you don't like that, turn that off, and then you can just set it down wherever you're at. If you're at work and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to turn the heat off while I'm out of the house or the kids are gone, you can pull out your phone, turn the heat off, and then turn it on when you're on your way home, so it's nice and warm when you get there. Another solution that we can look at for some energy saving tips is you can look at possible zoning solutions. Now, this is a larger upfront investment as opposed to just a smart thermostat or doing thermostat adjustments and that kind of thing. If you're only concerned about using certain rooms in the evening time, this is kind of carrying we don't want to condition spaces that we're not using premise. But really, zoning is only going to benefit you if you have some sort of multi-stage system where if you're only having one zone out of 3 calling or asking for heating or cooling, the system can operate in its lowest stage and condition that zone. But how single stage systems work with zoning is it still has to run at 100% capacity even though all of the ductwork isn't open. So what it's going to do is it's going to bypass most of that air right back to the return. So you're still consuming the same amount of energy just to condition one zone, as opposed to if you conditioned the whole house, it's exactly the same. So really, zoning is only going to benefit those if you're concerned with energy savings. Zoning is only going to benefit those with multi-stage systems. And I could make the argument that a multi-stage system really would be necessary to enjoy the full benefits of zoning, because zoning really is wonderful. But that's something to consider. Again, what we're all about here at Chat HVAC is just making HVAC accessible. We want to provide quick answers to your comfort questions. We want you to be able to know what to do with your system, what things mean. We want to teach you some stuff, and we want you as the homeowner to be as knowledgeable and as empowered with this information as you possibly can. Pressing on here, some household comfort hacks for busy families. I have a busy family. My son just started kindergarten. We're homeschooling, and my daughter's going to preschool at a local church here. And it is a busy time. We have a little baby that just turned 1 yesterday. So say happy birthday to my son down in the comments. I'm kidding. You don't have to do that. But some household comfort hacks for the busy family. Keep doors closed. Obviously, front doors, back doors, side doors, keep those things closed. Don't leave them open. Don't leave windows open, those kinds of things. Unless, of course, we're in the shoulder weather, shoulder season, as you'll maybe hear some HVAC people talk about. I mean, if it's like 60 to 70 degrees out all the time, which it may get to over the next couple months, open your windows or something. But most of the time, you just want to keep your windows and doors closed. Turn ceiling fans in the clockwise rotation in the wintertime to push warm air down. So if a fan is running counterclockwise, because of the way the blades are bent, so you'll notice that the blades on your fans aren't flat, they're slanted. And there's a little switch on your ceiling fans. The switch in one direction is counterclockwise, and what that does is it pulls the hot air up, right? Well, reverse it, it'll push the warm air down, because warm air sits at the top of the room, cool air at the bottom, warm air rises. Turning the fan in the clockwise position will push the warm air down. That could potentially offer it might take the edge off on the more mild days, maybe where it's in the upper 40s, low 50s. You don't want to turn your heat on. I know I cringe when I have to turn my heat on and the temperature isn't below 30. So that's just how I am. You husbands out there can relate. So I also would encourage you families to just kind of reset your comfort habits as your schedule changes. So as you kind of level out, you can obviously fall into a rhythm as opposed to just kind of guessing what you want to set your thermostat to every day. You can kind of get a routine, and that would be a good thing to do. Really, the biggest thing that I would want to stress to you as the homeowner is, as we're moving into fall, as we're going back to school, as kids are getting busy, as you're getting busy, just don't neglect the HVAC system. That's oftentimes the last thing that people think about, but it's usually the first thing that comes to mind if it starts to get really cold in the house and you don't know why. A few things that you can do to maybe prevent some unnecessary service calls in the fall or the wintertime. Make sure that you do annual maintenance. If you haven't had a heating maintenance done on your heating appliance, whether it's a furnace or a boiler or a geothermal or a heat pump or whatever it is, we service all of it. If you're not in our area, find somebody who services that for you that you trust, and have them come out and do a full heating service on the system. Just to give you peace of mind, have them give you a detailed report, top to bottom, of every part of your system, even the good parts. You want to know all of the information. Whenever we do a maintenance for somebody, we give them a full report, a full breakdown on everything that their system is doing, everything from top to bottom, whether it's good or bad, whether it passes or fails. We tell them everything, because you deserve to know everything. That's probably the biggest thing that I would stress in this episode, is just don't neglect it because it's busy. It doesn't take a lot to keep things running. It doesn't take a lot of attention. You don't need to think about it every day. Make sure you have a maintenance done. Go do that visual inspection that we talked about. Make sure you get it checked out before you need it, right? So this in-between time is the perfect time to get maintenance done, because you're probably not running your system very much. If you're in a climate similar to Ohio right now, you're probably not running your HVAC system a whole lot. You don't need a lot of heat. You don't need a lot of cooling. You might need cooling later in the day when it gets up to 80. You might need some heat, but I haven't had to turn my heat on at all this fall or so far this month. So just get it checked out. Even though things are busy, get it checked out. Another thing that's really, really good to do is look at indoor air quality. Just with fall comes sickness, comes flu season. Look at some of those air purifiers. I know I have one in my own home. It's made worlds of difference for me as far as my experience with allergies and things like that. I'm also asthmatic, so it helps out a lot with the fall. Typically the fall and winter times is when my respiratory issues are at their peak. So any indoor air quality solutions that I can have in my home that would help me with that is worth the investment to me. And I certainly recommend them to everybody else. The Remy Halo is a fantastic product. Just a quick little anecdotal story for you regarding that. When my wife and I first got married, we rented our first home. It smelled like cigarette smoke real bad. Obviously, it physically bothered me. My wife didn't like it. And the landlords changed the carpet. They painted the house, but the smell was still there. And if you've ever tried to get rid of that, you know what I'm talking about. So I was doing some research, trying to find some indoor air quality options. I was like, well, I'm an HVAC guy. I wonder if there's any air purifiers, things like that. Well, I came across the Remy Halo. Again, that's REME. It's by a manufacturer called RFG. And I will include it's RGF. It's by a manufacturer called RGF. And I can include some information in the description down below about this air purifier if this is something that you'd like to purchase for yourself. But I purchased the Remy Halo, again, by RGF, and it was advertised to kill odors. It was advertised to get rid of like anything from pet odors to cigarette smoke odors. And I was like, all right, well, perfect time to put this to the test. So I purchased it. I put it in, and I woke up about 3 days later, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, I don't smell anything. It's totally gone. You would never know that anybody smoked in that house, ever. So for me, anecdotally, just take it for what it's worth. That Remy Halo has completely changed my indoor air quality experience and personally changed my opinion on how effective indoor air quality can be and how much of a difference it can actually make. So I would really encourage you to consider some sort of indoor air quality options. And the last thing I'll say is use smart thermostats, whether it's programmable or a Wi-Fi capable where you can control it from your phone. Some sort of scheduling on your thermostat is going to help you to just remember to have your system off in times when nobody's in the house. Now, not all of you have that reality. Like for me, my wife and kids are home all the time. So we don't typically do that. But if we're leaving on a vacation or if we're leaving on like a long trip or something like that, we'll go ahead and set it back. Like we just took a trip to South Dakota recently, and I made sure to go set all my thermostats to 78 degrees because I didn't want my air conditioning to be properly cooling my house while I was gone. I wasn't here to enjoy it. So I set it up a little bit. A little just point of reassurance. Some small adjustments can really go a long way as far as your comfort, as far as your energy savings. HVAC doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't have to be annoying. It doesn't have to be a nuisance. Get regular service. So get a service on your system before the wintertime so that you know that you have reassurance and peace of mind that your system is running properly. Focus on indoor air quality. That helps a lot, especially with kids getting sick, adults getting sick. It's just that time of year. Focus on an air purifier that kills viruses, bacteria, allergens, contagions, those kinds of things. And use some smart thermostats, Wi-Fi thermostats to try to balance the time when you're not home versus when you are home and making sure that your home is conditioned the way that you want it to be. So on that note, I want to thank you for joining me on Chat HVAC. where we give you quick answers to all of your comfort questions. If you found these back to school tips helpful, be sure to hit subscribe. Don't miss next week's episode. If you've got questions about keeping your home healthy this fall, reach out to us at Comfort Solutions. You can visit our website or give us a call. Both of those pieces of information will be in the description down below. Even if you're not in the state of Ohio, if you have a question, you're welcome to give us a call. We'd be happy to answer that for you. Next week, we are going to dive into a furnace maintenance checklist so that you can make sure that your home is ready for those first cold nights that we're going to be unfortunately experiencing here soon. Until then, I'm Scott Jackson. This is Chat HVAC. We'll see you next week.